Chapter 16. Loss of Government Fund. Contents: 1. Purpose. 2. Definition of loss. 3. Types of losses. 4. Responsibility of accounting officer in the event of loss of fund. 5. The Federal Losses Committee. 6. Composition of the Federal Losses Committee. 7. Board of Inquiries. 8. Criteria for constitution of Board of Inquiries. 9. Accounting treatment of loss of government fund. 10. Accounting entries. 11. Chapter review. 12. Work examples. Loss of government fund. Purpose. After studying this chapter, readers should be able to 1. A. Explain the concept of loss in the public sector. B. List type of losses. C. Enumerate responsibility of accounting officer in the event of loss of fund. D. Discuss the functions of the Federal Losses Committee and Board of Inquiries as regards loss of fund. E. Enumerate the conditions under which a Board of Inquiries is to be constituted in the event of loss of fund. And F. Tabularize the accounting entry required to write off loss of government fund. Definition of loss. Loss or shortage of fund is a depletion of government fund at a given time. Types of losses. The type of losses that can arise in a public sector are as follows. A. Misappropriation of funds. B. Falsification of records. C. Conversion of funds to personal use. D. Fraudulent payments. E. Theft. F. Negligence. G. Abandonment of revenue receivable. H. Abandonment of advance granted from recurrent expenditure. I. Loss of cash. Responsibility of accounting officer in the event of loss. Loss of fund. Where a cash loss to the value of 50,000 naira or less has occurred without fraud being involved, accounting officers are personally empowered to surcharge the officers responsible up to the full amount of the loss. Accounting officers are personally responsible for ensuring that all responsible officers for losses are surcharged. For officers above GL10, the loss should be reported to the Accountant General of the Federation. Where a loss is treated under this regulation, accounting officer must immediately send a brief report of the circumstances in deciding the value of the loss to A. The Chairman, Federal Civil Service Commission. B. The Auditor General for the Federation. C. The Accountant General of the Federation. D. The Federal Ministry of Finance. According to the FR 1502, a loss shall be charged as a personal advance against the officer responsible for the loss, pending a decision by the Federal Losses Committee. The officer in charge of the office in which the loss occurs shall take the following actions. A. Report immediately to head of the unit or division by the fastest means if the loss occurs away from the headquarters. B. Report to police if fraud or theft is suspected. C. Initiate immediate action by completing Treasury Form 146 Part 2 and forward same in quintuplicate to head of unit or decision. D. Ensure that if a weakness in the system of control or insecurity is established, measures have to be taken to prevent a reoccurrence of the loss. E. Ensure that accounting entries have been made. The Federal Losses Committee. The Federal Losses Committee is a standing committee responsible for considering all cases involving loss of cash, stores, and vehicles. Composition of the Federal Losses Committee. A. A representative of the Auditor General as chairman. B. A representative of the Accountant General. C. A representative of the Administration Department of the Ministry an extra ministerial office, and other arms of government concerned. D. A representative of the Inspector General of Police. E. A representative of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. F. The Inspectorate Department of the Office of the Accountant General shall provide the Secretariat Board of Inquiries. This is a board constituted by the Accountant General after studying the report of the accounting officer, where there is a reported case of loss of government funds, to carry out special investigation into the circumstances leading to loss. Criteria for constitution of Board of Inquiries. A Board of Inquiry shall be constituted under the following conditions. A. If fraud is probable. B. If the loss is substantial. C. If several officers are involved. D. If the responsibility of the officers are not clearly defined. E. If the loss took place over a period of time. And F. If collusion is suspected. The Accountant General, in convening the board, shall incorporate terms of preference for the board as he may deem necessary. The officer convening Board of Inquiries shall forward a copy of the convening order with full terms of reference to A. Accounting Officer. B. Accountant General of the Federation. C. Auditor General for the Federation. D. Chairman, Federal Civil Service Commission. Accounting treatment of loss of government fund. Where it is confirmed or established that there has been loss of cash due to embezzlement, armed robbery, fraud, or failure to receive an advance granted or collect revenue for service rendered, adjustment vouchers are not raised. Such losses are charged to non-personal advance accounts by preparing payment vouchers. The non-personal advance account is prepared by the Accountant General after authorization by the Minister of Finance. The financial accounting entries required for the treatment of such losses, however, depend on the following. A. Date the transaction which led to the loss occurred. B. Date the loss is discovered. C. Date of passing the entries. D. Nature of the loss. E. Type of fund involved. Accounting entries. A. Loss of cash. Debit, non-personal advance account. Credit, cash account. B. Fraudulent payment or overpayment made and discovered within the current financial year. Debit, you have non-personal advance account. For the credit, we have relevant subhead. C. Fraudulent payment or overpayment in previous financial year, charged to Consolidated Revenue Fund (CRF) or Development Fund (DF). For debit, we have non-personal advance account. For the credit, we have relevant subhead. D. Fraudulent payment or overpayment made in previous financial year, charged against public fund other than CRF or DF. For the debit, we have non-personal advance account. For the credit, we have account originally debited. E. Abandonment of the recovery of an amount or advance charged initially to an advance account. For the debit, we have loss of fund account, while for the credit, we have advance account. F. Recovery of an account earlier written off to non-personal advance account. We have cash. For the debit, we have cash or bank account. For the credit, we have non-personal advance account. G. We have overpayment not involving fraud made in a previous financial year, charged against CRF or DF. Note: no adjustment required, but the loss will be recognized by the Accountant General. For the debit, we have cash or bank account, while for the credit, we have non-personal advance account. H. Abandonment of recovery of a bicycle advance issued initially from recurrent expenditure. Note: no adjustment required, but the loss will be recognized by the Accountant General. For the debit, we have cash or bank account, For the credit, we have non-personal advance account. I. Abandoned of recovery of an unpaid revenue. Note: no adjustment required, but the loss will be recognized by the Accountant General. For the debit, we have cash or bank account, while for the credit, we have non-personal advance account. Chapter review. This chapter discusses the concept of loss of fund and types in the public sector, the treatment of loss and role of accounting officer in the event of loss was also dealt with. The functions of the Federal Losses Committee and Board of Inquiries were highlighted. The specific conditions under which a Board of Inquiries may be constituted in the event of loss of fund was also discussed. Worked examples. Questions. 1A. We have loss or shortage of fund is a depletion of government fund at a given time. Enumerate each sources through which loss of fund may arise in the public sector. B. What actions are required according to the Financial Regulations 1502 to be taken by the accounting officers in charge of the office in which a loss of fund occurred? 2A. The Federal Losses Committee is a standing committee and responsible for considering all cases involving loss of cash, stores, and vehicles. State the composition of the Federal Losses Committee. B. I. Differentiate between Board of Survey and Board of Inquiries. 2. Under what conditions will the Board of Inquiry be constituted? Number 3. In a prescribed format showing debit and credit, prepare the accounting entries in relation to FR 1524 and 1525 as regards the following losses in the public sector. 1. Loss of fund. 2. Fraudulent payment or overpayment made and discovered within the current financial year in respect of a specified subhead. 3. Fraudulent payment or overpayment in previous financial year charged to Consolidated Revenue Fund CRF or Development Fund DF. 4. Fraudulent payment or overpayment made in previous financial year charged against public fund other than CRF or DF. 5. Abandonment of the recovery of an amount or advance charged initially to an advance. 6. Overpayment not involving fraud made in the previous financial year charged against CRF or DF. 7. Abandonment of the recovery of unpaid revenue. 8. Abandonment of recovery of advances issued initially from recurrent expenditure. 9. Abandonment of the recovery of bicycle advance issued initially from recurrent expenditure. 4. Number 4. In accordance with FR 1537, states the content of the Board of Inquiries report. Vice advise the board's recommendation. Suggested solutions. 1A. Loss or shortage of fund can arise from any of the following. 1. Misappropriated funds. 2. Falsification of records. 3. Conversion of funds to personal use. 4. Fraudulent payments. 5. Theft. 6. Negligence. 7. Abandonment of revenue receivable. 8. Abandonment of advance granted from recurrent expenditure. 9. Loss of cash. B. The officer in charge of the office in which the loss occurs shall take the following actions. 1. Report immediately to head of the unit or division by the fastest means if the loss occurs away from the headquarters. 2. Report to police if fraud or theft is suspected. 3. Initiate immediate action by completing Treasury Form 146 Part 2 and forward same in duplicate to head of unit or division. 4. Ensure that if a weakness in the system of control or insecurity is established, measures have been taken to prevent a recurrence of the loss. 5. Ensure that accounting entries have been made. 2A. Composition of the Federal Losses Committee. 1. A representative of the Auditor General for the Federation as chairman. 2. A representative of the Accountant General for the Federation. 3. a representative of the administration department of the ministry or extra-ministerial office and other arms of government concerned. 4. A representative of the Inspector General of Police. 5. A representative of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. 6. The Inspectorate Department of Office of the Accountant General shall provide a secretariat. B. I. The Board of Inquiry is a board constituted by the Accountant General at the request of the Accounting Officer, the Chairman, Federal Civil Service Commission, where there are reported cases of loss of government funds, while Board of Survey is usually convened to examine cash, bank balances, and stamps held by the Accountant General of the Federation in the Treasury and other sub-treasury offices both in Nigeria and overseas. It also involves examination of unserviceable stores, plants, buildings, and equipment. A board of inquiry shall be constituted under the following conditions: A. If the fraud is probable. B. If the loss is substantial. C. If several officers are involved. D. If the responsibility of the officers are not clearly defined. E. If the loss took place over a period of time. And F. If collection is suspected. Contents of Board of Inquiry's report. A. Analysis of the exact amount of loss incurred. B. An express opinion on the state of the internal accounting system. C. Recommendation for the immediate improvement on the security measures in place. D. A recommendation as to the fixing of responsibility for the loss, in whole or in part. E. Assessment of the level of negligence displayed by the officer held responsible for the loss of funds. F. Recommendations as whether to surcharge the officer responsible. And G. Details of any mitigating circumstances which should be taken into consideration in the assessment of the degree of negligence.